Old Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on a Tuesday, married on a Wednesday, sick on a Thursday, worse on a Friday, died on a Saturday, buried on a Sunday. Oh, this is the end of Solomon Grundy, way down there in the cellar.
Hi, Frank Bochard. This is me before I started smoking pot. Then I started smoking pot. Now look at me. I got fucking close friends all over my face. And you're like hell. I'm fucking high.
I have standards. I have standards, okay?
You look like you have standards.
I don't just fucking get naked and puke on myself for anybody. Frank Bochard, Mr. fucking...
Dude, we're gonna edit that out. You don't say my name in the video.
Make sure you get it. She's gonna do it when you got your camera on
Frank.
the face. On my face.
And this is Lorraine. Lorraine's boobs will be coming up shortly.
I don't think we got you on tape except for last year when you were in the studio.
Lorraine?
The bar time.
Oh, when I did bar time, yeah.
Alright, ready, slate. Take slate. Ready, black. Okay, dissolve camera 1. Fade theme out. Open mic, cue talent.
I met Frank through a guy I was dating, Steven Carr.
Come on, Steve, you're so close.
No!
Alright, come on, come on.
We used to have something magical, right? I hit my head.
Steve introduced me to Frank, and Frank was pretty loaded at the time.
Just in case the feds. Oh, how fucking lucky are we?
And before I left, Frank grabbed, as I was walking by, he kind of leaned in like he was going to whisper something in my ear, but instead he pulled me in and grabbed my head and licked the entire side of my face.
Sounds good.
This is Frank. I wouldn't ask for anybody else
All
except
right.
me.
As long as it doesn't end up on the internet somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I won't.
I said to Steven later on, I don't know if I like that Frank guy too much. And Steven says, oh, yeah, you know, that's Frank. You know, that's how he is at first. He's different once you get to know him. And that was exactly the case.
Behind every dark boob is an even darker
You should zoom
boob.
out.
What's that?
Rain, show us your tits.
Clothes off.
Come on.
No, I'm not drunk right now. Oh, but I don't feel like getting half naked right now. No, in gym class, there's like... Steve didn't like Frank at first either when he first met him. Frank was friends with Angie. I don't want to be in it. I don't want to be in your play. Steve and Angie were living together, and one time they came home, and Frank was actually sitting in their house. How did he get in, and why is he here, and who is this guy? You know? So, yeah, that kind of pissed Steven off at first, but they became friends, and, you know, such is history.
I'm Eric Cowan. I hope that you're enjoying this movie. I am enjoying this movie. It is thrilling, shocking tale of hatred, disgust, and a lot of other really bad and cool stuff.
Drugs. Chair. Trash can. Tree.
Growing up with him, like we weren't close at all. We actually hated each other. There's a lot of like typical sibling fighting and crap, but
throw the brick over the head?
Oh yeah, that was me.
Would you tell us what happened?
Yeah, sure. It was a game that he was playing, throw the brick over her head, and the first one made it and the second one didn't. And unfortunately, he's colorblind too.
Wow, it's so weird because, just the way I was looking at it, I couldn't see the red on the thermometer.
So, I mean, we're little, and he thought brown stuff was coming out of my head. So when I'm running around screaming and crying, he's just like,
How about his eye? He had a special eye.
that little brown spot. Mom used to say, that's a little piece of me, because the whole family has blue eyes and she has brown. So she's like, little piece of me. He's the only boy, and I think with him and my dad not getting along, she tried twice as hard to make up for that. So she made sure he had all the attention and love that, he would need.
Tears jump from your face like a suicide and slip away into the fold. Fill your tears in a paper cup.
Everybody said he looked just like his dad, and Frank kind of came from a really surprisingly nuclear family, I know he was estranged from his father.
As his dad wanting him to fix the car that they were working on that Frank would get whenever he was 16, and I remember Frank would get really upset because his father would sabotage the car, according to Frank, I guess, that he would sabotage the car in order for Frank to figure it out and become that much better of a mechanic or whatever you want to say he wanted him to be. I remember the day that he just went crazy and just bashed the car up, I guess, with a crowbar, and then just came over my house and was just really distraught about it for a couple hours, And I think that was just one of the demons that he had in him, that he just so much didn't want to be like his father that he would make sure that he was the complete opposite.
His folks stayed together. They are well-to-do, and certainly not starving or whatever, but he kind of rejected all that. He kind of rejected his I guess, middle-class upbringing, and kind of, found himself, drawn to people who were, on the other side of the tracks, like Stephen, growing up in a trailer.
What do you think about Edgar Allan Poe?
I think Edgar Allan Poe was a hippie, and his stories make me want to plant a tree.
Frank really was not really the type to get in major trouble, because he was pretty much in all honors classes and stuff like that, but he really was the type to just kind of talk back to the teacher and make everybody laugh kind of thing, and that's really what he would get in trouble for, is just talking out of line or something like that,
We got a late winter, but it came on with a vengeance. Frank hated the winter. He kept leaving, to get out of this town and see somewhere new. He went to Colorado, he went to Austin, Texas.
Fuckers! Piss off, Ohio! Piss off!
But he'd always come back here because, deep down he did love this state. He loved the people here.
There was a charity event, and a drag car careened into the audience, killing 6 people and injuring a 6-year-old boy. And the charity event was for injured children. And I thought that was very funny.
I just always remember Frank as just a, kind-hearted but goofy, kind of whacked out person, I don't think he never meant nobody no harm, and I don't know, didn't mean to harm himself.
Country, I kiss your ass. Well, I got 13 kids and a bunch of dogs, house full of chickens and a yard full of hogs.
He was introduced to me by Ed Steck. He's like, oh man, you gotta meet this dude. And says his name is Crazy Frank. And then Frank introduces himself as Dank Tank Frank. I haven't, before that or after that, really felt the sense of community that I felt in Kent, with just between the activist scene and the Parsley Flakes and the Slow Mutants.
Every composition is a competition, and I guess it is tradition. Gotta mention that I'm sick of it a little bit, about to get belligerent. Fuck it, I'm trying to be amazing, but they turn my grapes to
Everyone playing shows in my basement, or like the ECC, which it was like a community center. I felt like I was a part of something really special, and like Frank was obviously like an integral part of that. He'd be there with the beer in hand, spilling it everywhere right up front, you know.
Passionate. I mean, he was really super passionate, but he was super passionate about fucking shit up. There were many times that he was flipping over furniture when he was wasted. It's particularly, I think his favorite was the coffee table. At the end of a very long night of partying, I'd be one of the few people up, and he'd be kind of spilling stuff to me sometimes. It was always things that were felt out of a place of love, but frustration. I feel like he had a lot of frustration towards the world in general, but he had a very fuck it mentality about that frustration. He would talk about girls like they didn't know he fucking existed. Like he'd always talk about them like really hypersexually, but I feel like that was to make me feel uncomfortable more than it was about actually feeling sexual towards them. How he would imagine what their like ass or their tits would feel like, or like, I don't know, he would just get really like fucking graphic with it, and I was always like, whoa, Frank, I don't need to know all that shit. He'd still tell me anyways, and he'd be like, well, Beth, we could fuck. And I'm like, no, Frank, we couldn't. But I think that he was like trying to explain how alone he felt at times. And like his longing for connection within that. But again, he had such a thing for trying to make people feel uncomfortable that it never really played out for him.
I met Frank at a Yellow House party, and then Colby was hitting on my friend, and so that left me with Frank. And then Frank was trying to give me a back massage, which ended up with him like choking me. But then Frank decided, I'm gonna make her slow dance with me in the middle of the living room to no music and nothing at all. And him saying, Ashley, tell me you love it. And I'm scared and don't know what to do. So I just said, Frank, I love this, Frank.
Y'all, and welcome to the wonderful, illuminating, superior, enlightening, authorized, immaculate, revolutionary, magnificent, intelligently controversial, excellent show with Michelle, or otherwise known as the Wise Air My Show with Michelle. That's me. I'm Michelle Long, your host today, and we're going to be chatting with a very interesting guy.
And he was going to break up with me because I didn't want to have sex, and he was a virgin and I was a virgin. I remember there was this one time he introduced me to Michael Moore, Bowling for Columbine, and I remember we were watching it in the dorm, and like my head was there, his head was there, and he had the bottom bunk of the bunk beds, and I remember like I was watching the movie, and then all of a sudden I look over and it's like dick was like hanging out of his pants, and that was the first time I'd ever seen a penis. Like Frank's penis was the first penis I ever saw. He asked me if I wanted to do something to it, and I was like, no thank you, that's okay, please put it away now.
Oh gosh, loud and inappropriate. Wildly inappropriate. It was always interesting to watch other people's reactions because, a lot of times people were very uncomfortable around Frank. And, I kind of embraced that and thought that was quite talented of him, how easily he could make someone uncomfortable. So there's a cop that drove by, and I rolled down the window and I was yelling out, the window at the cop, and Frank's like, shh, what are you doing? Chill out, and I was like, oh, Frank, am I making you uncomfortable? But he was like, sometimes I just really feel like you're, the female equivalent of me, and that was just like, that moment, and I was like, oh man, Frank, I don't know if I can take that on.
Not really a frat party, but a bunch of frat boys were there, and didn't know anybody, just moved into Kent. Had never met Frank before, and it was kind of a weird party, but everybody was like sitting around playing, beer pong. And Frank just all of a sudden is like, hey, you're gonna play with me. And the next thing I know is everybody at the party starts completely freaking out because the keg has all of a sudden disappeared. And lo and behold, look over across the street, and here's Frank hossing this entire keg of beer away from all of these frat guys and taking it to wherever he's going.
I go to the bathroom to take a piss. I didn't know this, but Jeremy gets up at the same time, and he just goes and takes a piss in my hallway. It's old hardwood, so the piss drops down onto Frank.
You could actually, see drips coming down. And I put my arm in this thing of clothes, realized what it was, and thought, wow, that's probably one of the more interesting things that have happened to me in a long time.
And they come up, hey, what's this leaking? And so Frank gets a towel and cleans it up for him. Frank takes the rag he used to clean up Jeremy's piss and rubs it all over his fucking face.
I didn't see Frank again or even hear anything about him until I came in contact with a whole other group of friends, basically, like a year later or so. They were always talking about this guy, Frank. Frank did this, Frank did that. All these crazy stories that I didn't know which ones were true or if they could be true. The interesting thing about it, too, is that he actually had the same major as me in school, and he graduated like maybe 2 years before I did.
Most people that drink as much as he does and work as much as he does, they don't do well in school. He was never dropping classes. He was always getting A's, B's, and sometimes a few C's, but, he graduated with flying colors. Like, he did the work because he loved it. He found the major that was right for him. I think that's the reason he did so well in school.
Just knowing how hard Frank partied and how late he stayed up. And I didn't graduate from Kent State, and I was envious.
He never had his own computer. He never had his own equipment except for a shitty little audio tape recorder. He got everything done with less than most people in that major have.
I first met Frank when he started coming into the multimedia lab to do videos. I was always impressed with how creative he was.
I wasn't used to doing multiple takes, and...
Wait, cut. Say that again.
I wasn't used to doing multiple takes.
Stop.
What's wrong?
Passion.
Okay, let me see. I gotta put my hand over my eye because of the sun. I wasn't really used to doing multiple takes.
Trash. That was trash. Start again from I'm not used to doing multiple takes.
He's goofing on you, Tobe. Don't you get it? I know you're goofing on me. I mean, you're asking me the same thing over and over again.
He could always make the class laugh. And I always tell students, if I'm entertained, then that can pretty much guarantee you an A. And he never disappointed me on entertaining me.
I sold my soul for a sack of dog feces once. My little sister has a third nipple.
Cue, Andrew? Somebody? Somebody?
I had to help Frank with a project. He had to do a video, an instructional video for one of his broadcast classes. He hadn't written anything. He had no script or idea what to do. I came up with the idea. I wrote the script in one night, and then the next day I'm standing in the studio. Drop in your shot. And commence chugging.
Ready to dissolve
Andrew,
to dissolve
you come here
to.
and try this for me. Cheers.
Cheers. Delicious.
He sipped it. What a loser.
Thank you.
No, I can't remember him being one of my problem students at all. He seemed to enjoy what he was doing. He seemed to enjoy the projects.
Do you think we're actually going to find a vaccine for disease, hunger, or chickenpox? Heck no. So let's work on something we can actually fix. Okay, our first caller is Shirley from Massachusetts. She has a bit of a problem with her computer. Shirley, hi, how are you?
I've been dying to play Doom 2 for weeks and it won't even let me play it. When I open Paintbrush, a bunch of 666s start popping up in blood spray paint. I just don't know what to do anymore. I can't take it.
There, Shirley from Massachusetts. It sounds like your computer is a little possessed.
There's been maybe tens of thousands of students I've met in the 30 years I've been here at Kent. For Frank to stand out as exceptional amongst those students means something. He was always out there pushing the edge of the envelope, both creatively and with his own life.
This video's all about putting batteries in a controller. AAA batteries. There you go. My butt! It's all about my butt, babe! The positive side goes like this. And for you at home, positive is the bumpy part of the battery. See that bump? And then you put it in there. That's your controller. And you might want to put a lid on it. If you don't have a lid, get some tape. And also, my fucking butt! My goddamn butt! So that's the power button right there. That's on and off. Channel up, channel down. 1, 2, and 3 is on the top row. This message brought to you by garbage bags. And my balls!
For a while he was on a disco phase, but I know he had more disco CDs than anybody I've seen in a long time.
He said it was his roommates or his friends, like, lucky statue or something. Like, he did not give a shit. He just...
I'm gonna try to light that thing on fire.
He burned the ever-loving shit out of that thing. He burned... I don't even know what else. He lit a lot of shit on fire. He was huffing shit in the corner of his dad's garage, and he was so fucked up. He said, like, he saw himself in the future, and his future self came back and told him to stop doing shit like that. And started having, like, a real, like, you know, like a heart-to-heart. What are those, like, after-school movies?
It's not really burnable, but I can douse it in some chemicals and it'll look really cool. Paint thinner is not that flammable. Try something else. I think my roommates hid everything flammable from me, so I'm gonna go on a search for some lighter fluid. Damn, baby. Shit. You're about to be put on fire. You always got the same look on your face every time I say that. Yeah! It's cool, isn't it? Oh, me on fire? It's only because you're so hot, Frank. Everything you say just turns me on.
He was always lighting shit on fire, which I was always like really uncomfortable with. I'm air and water sign, so I was always like, stop lighting shit on fire. And he would just scream anarchy in my face, and then...
But you know what? We're gonna fucking put you on fire! Is this fucking sweet or what? Check it out, man. It's like fire. It's like, what? No, don't do it.
Oh, I met Frank while working at a horrible telephone center. The guy to the left of me was training me, and the guy to the right of me was Frank. I learned nothing that day.
So, hi, I'm calling from EBSCO about your Field and Stream magazine. Oh, I'm sorry, my husband's died. Well, you can keep the magazine as a remembrance and have one that you can put on their grave every single month when it's delivered to you.
He would sneak in microphones and illegally record his phone conversations.
Hey, is Clarence here? Yeah. Hey, Clarence? Yeah. Oh, this is Frank Parker from EBSCO with your Motor Trend magazine.
What about it?
Well, it's just up for renewal, so we're dropping the rate.
I never ordered the damn thing to begin with. I don't know why y'all sent it to me.
Oh, did you enjoy reading it?
Why, hell no, I didn't read it. I throw it away every damn time I got it.
What?
I throw it away every time I got it. I never ordered the thing.
Did you enjoy it?
What? No.
Oh, so you wanted to continue?
What? Hell no.
Well, you know, it's only 83 cents an issue.
If it ain't been free, I don't want it. I didn't want it when it started coming here. I don't know why it even came.
Well, it's not free. It's 83 cents an issue, which is a great deal. It's
want it when it came here. I don't know why it was even sent to me. I don't even understand that.
In between calls, he would masturbate.
Joe's looking at me and does not realize that I'm jacking it underneath the desk at work. I'm jacking it at work underneath my desk. No one can tell.
You know, and I worked with him there for probably about a year, you know, and that place was just a haven for absolute drugs. Like, you know, everybody's like doing a line like off of their workspace, or everybody's passing pills to each other.
I met Frank at EBSCO Teleservices. He and my girlfriend at the time got the jobs. I did not. I ended up working with him maybe 2 months later. My girlfriend at the time, who had gotten the job with him, told me she thinks Frank's cute. I ended up telling Frank this. He's like, oh, that's so crazy, because I was thinking about how I'd like to have sex with her. And I'm like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, it'll be fun, we can trade. I'll use my right hand, because that's my girlfriend, and I'll fuck her. So I'll just jerk you off and I'll fuck her for you. Is that cool? Instead of, you know, making calls, every call that come up, he'd change a number to one of his friends. Who the hell is this? EBSCO Teleservices? Does Frank work there? Always ended up giving him a ride home. Never the same place twice. Always random people's houses. Hey, no, you want to come in and hang out? Of course.
I had this weird idea of just people eating food and it being really disgusting. So about 30 seconds after I came up with the idea behind it, I realized that, you know, Frank would have to be the role as the main character.
You want me to make a noise or something?
Yeah, just that was great. That was so dumb.
All right, I'm gonna do the face too. Ready?
Just randomly, I'm gonna put a camera in your face and be as weird and disgusting as you possibly can.
Just go to town, be disgusting, and you know, he did not leave me disappointed. Basically, a lot of people would have some sort of self-conscious or reservedness to themselves when it comes to anything. Frank just, you put the hammer on him and he's like, I'm gonna be disgusting and not put you down, and let's make this awesome.
The ground beef that Garrison bought was like 70-30. It was absolutely disgusting. I'm like puking off the side of the camera, like trying to throw up everything.
I feel like making down, feel like making sloppy Joe. Feel like making down, oh yeah. I feel the mountain sloppy low.
And then everybody was just like, oh my God, dude. You know, and like I said, I'm right across from him, and it's just like literally like oozing out of his mouth and out of his nose.
Work for the camera.
Please tell me there's another chair just like that.
Finger paint and sloppy Joe. With all the grease on my hand, it's a water snake. I can't even hold on to it.
Turn it this direction a little bit more. I wanted to have a sequel, something about mashed potatoes, and I knew that if I ever did have a sequel to it, I could just call Frank and say, hey, we're gonna do this again, and are you in? Yes. Of course.
Strange Magazine. He's responsible for the first video I ever done in my life. Like on location. I didn't know anything about anything as far as videos went. So I had to go by his direction.
I saw my girl in a Strange Magazine. I was in a state of shock. It was such a freaky scene. She was on page 6 in a provocative pose, wearing lots of makeup, but not any clothes.
Gosh, that was a while ago, so I'm trying to remember. You did the editing, right?
No, he did the editing.
Dude, your girl is hot, but what's she doing here in this magazine I bought? I didn't have an answer and I felt just like a loon. He said he'd drop on by when he gets out the bathroom.
Okay, I'm trying to think. You did something. What was it?
There's one shot in the scene where I'm masturbating.
Cause now they got the internet in every household.
Do you remember?
Maybe I had a mental block of that.
Cause now they got the internet in every household.
And he's even at the end of the video.
Stay, I went to work. All the guys are standing around looking at me real strange. You came up, yo, is this your girl on page 6? Cause I'm telling you, man, she's like freaking hot. And I'm like,
I thought it was just like talk people have at bars, you know, hey, we'll form a band one day. And you know, the thought of me actually like really doing a music video, that was like, you know, I'll believe it when I see it type of thing. But Frank wasn't kidding.
said it's not me, the girl you see in the picture. Even if it was, I'm a grown-up mister. I do what I want, you got some nerve to show. Cause I know about the girl you met up in Tokyo.
Sometimes he got himself in a little trouble. But when it came to what he did though, whether it was drums, filming, he was a serious dude.
One of these. Look at the camera and go like this. Look at the dude to the camera, like go blow a kiss. Get more angry faces, like rawr. Pretend like you have a 3 hula hoops and you're juggling glasses on your nose.
This one, right in the lip.
I feel like such a perv telling someone.
Yeah. Put your finger in your mouth.
I could do the job, but it's fun.
Now I've got a prop here. It's this gigantic phallus.
I want you to use this with passion. Alright, we need to get a butt shot.
You're not even getting your face, Frank.
I know, that's why I'm trying to work on this. Grab your butt. Yeah,
put your hand on your butt like this.
Pour on her neck and chest. Can you throw them on her face?
No.
Get closer and get on her face.
I don't like it.
Alright. Joining us today is the musical group Slow Mutants. Hi there, how you guys doing today? It's good to have you on the show.
It's good seeing you again.
I wanted to start off the interview by asking if you could just tell us like your names and where you're from, maybe how you met.
I'm Frank from Barberton.
Now, how would you guys describe the style of the music that you play?
It's a lot of punk rock with a mix of everything else, like reggae, industrial.
Yeah.
I agree.
Awesome.
Agreed.
Awesome. I'm assuming you guys picked those styles because you're heavily influenced by them, or you just really like those styles, or?
Yeah.
It just kind of happened.
So where do you guys see yourselves in 5 years?
I'm going to be
What about
paid
yourself?
to wash your elephants and walk your dogs.
It sounds like a modest living. And here in the studio, Slow Mutants are actually going to go and perform one of their singles. So take it away, guys.
And through the smoke of seaweed, across an ocean of slime, a virgin mermaid bleeds for her very first time.
Maybe 2007, I wanted to get a band back together, but more than just a band, I wanted to get a group of artists together, talented people, and make music and art and films. Somehow we ended up at a house party, the Yellow House, and Frank was there.
When he started being in the Slow Mutants, he got really mad for some reason during the middle of one of his shows in the basement of the Yellow House, and just flipped over like part of his drum set. I think it was just like the cymbal and it was the tom and the snare drum. I think he just kind of like pushed over and stomped off and returned like 10-15 minutes later and was cool.
Another doctor? But you're a drummer? You're a drum doctor? Damn it, I'm a drummer, not a doctor. We're gonna stab you in the head.
And I might play monkey in the middle a little bit just to record the camera's point of view of how it is to be the monkey.
Yeah.
Or the thing being thrown.
Yeah. I'll see you, man. Have a good time.
And there he goes. Never to be seen again.
Hit that cowbell!
Ready to make your eardrums cry and your babies die. Here to devour your fucking souls. The Slow
Mutants! What a crazy bastard.
And you know, he didn't carry himself all cocky like a lot of drummers do, you know.
Here I am freezing my skinny ass off in your basement with 3 keyboards and a drum machine and a sampler and all these things. He's having a ball over there, and I'm like, fuck this winter. Why was he intimidated? You both were more like mellow in the sense, especially Frank, of hey, fuck it, let's just have fun, you know. And he would just, we'd be jamming, and it was just you and I would kind of fade out, and he'd still be going on the drums, and just like, oh, we stopped, oh well.
But then when he got behind the kit, he was like, damn, this dude is deep, you know? So it was, you know, I think we connected on a musical level at first, you know.
I like you quiet guy. Just be yourself, cause I don't mind. I love the way you make me feel. I really can't forget it still. I got that.
Better not waste the battery on that. You gotta save it for the show, bitch.
Thank you. We're the Slow Mutants.
Yeehaw! Furthermore proof that these poor rejected Slow Mutants only want to be puppies when they grow up. Get a close-up of Frank. That is Frank. This is someone else. And again, we have someone else.
In the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And now,
say happy birthday to everybody here.
ever so dramatically, the cameraman delivers Frank his beer free of charge.
What's up, next year? I wrote that lead character for Frank, and
I will smash this fucking system down!
We're gonna break out of this thing tonight, you understand me? We're gonna fucking break out of this fucking thing tonight. we're gonna do it. We're gonna break out of here tonight.
Action.
Fuck you. Oh, god damn it, stop it!
That was an interesting experience. That was funny whenever we went there and we were trying to get a hotel room. Well, we rolled up in a van, and you know, 2 guys and 2 girls get out, and 2 girls are dressed like hookers that get out, and we go in there and ask this guy that's owns the place, if we could rent a room just for a couple of hours, right? Innocent enough. And the guy's like, no, absolutely not. There's no way.
all right.
Something, I know, we're gonna kill the sheets though. I won't pour a whole lot on you, Frank, I promise.
Alright. Well, you can pour as much as you want. It doesn't matter. I don't care.
Don't they wash the sheets? They'll be all right.
I was supposed to spit wine in Frank's face and drank the entire bottle before.
Oh, sweetheart, you like it dirty.
So it was just like red water that I ended up spitting in his face because I was so nervous that I was just chugging this bottle of red wine.
Take the swig. You have it in your mouth already.
Here we go. Getting close to spit at him, okay?
Dude,
Jessica, you know what you gotta do? You gotta.
Dude, that kind of
try
fucking
and-
hurts. I mean, what do I have my pants on? You probably can't even see.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Keep your foot up, Frank.
Yeah. All right. Put your foot on his face, and we'll get this. Yeah. Now do the same thing. Like kind of roll on him. Crawl at the ground, Frank. Like. All right. Cut. Oh shit! I have no idea. Oh shit!
Keep going.
Oh, Andrew's in front.
Heed the warning of the oyster.
Action.
Shine till the shiny shine.
Shine their shoes until the shiny shiny. Garbage pickup is on Tuesday.
Action.
I failed you, Mr. President!
There is an unusual amount of material of cross-dressing in this man's life.
I believe
have
that.
photos of us at a party wearing wigs and dresses. I have video of him and Steve dressed up as women, and
Now that you're my wife, Miranda, I want to ask you a couple questions. Okay. What is your favorite color?
I like blue.
Okay, now smile for me. Smile like you mean it. This is our fucking honeymoon. Now tell me, what is your fucking favorite color?
Pink! I like pink! Don't you look at my skirt! Don't look at my skirt! I don't want you filming me with my socks on. Don't film me with my socks on, you dirty perp!
How about you take them off?
Well, what are you gonna do to me then?
Maybe I'll put them back on. I'm sorry.
What are you gonna do about that?
I'm sorry.
Oh, baby. Ah! Oh, this is so much fun. I never knew I had it in me.
I'm sorry.
Let me see your mask. It's fucking comfortable. You're so fucking ah! The whole time you've been dating me for the last 7 months?
Yeah.
Turn around and look at me.
What?
I was a man.
No!
This is for 6 months of anal sex, you bastard! Oh, I'm gonna break out the real hard news for you here.
This hurts! So bad.
Come here.
What are you doing? What the fuck? Ah!
Yeah.
Ow, my nipple! Ow! Ow, he'll kill me! My ass!
Don't fight it!
Ow, my ass!
Oh my... This is quite incriminating. Hold on.
You faggot! I married a faggot!
You're not gonna get out of that easy. Ah! By the way, my name's Bruce.
Ongoing thing, her.
At least 1 week in possession. Mess around.
peach cobbler time. And we just laughed and laughed.
You guys laugh a lot, I swear.
Yeah,
you.
we do. Yeah, me. You. Me.
Well, needless to say, the cobbler was a big hit, and everyone enjoyed it. Especially Barbara. She fell to the floor, choking, coughing, and gagging, grabbing her throat, pedaling for help, pleading for help. You wrote this dumb shit. She fell to the floor, pleading for help, grabbing her throat, choking, as usual.
That woman, I swear, always asking other people for help.
Yeah, right?
I know,
So she's in a lot of pain, and I swear, I can almost hear the chemicals eating away at her larynx. Larynx or is it pharynx?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. Well, anyway, the bitch died. And I said, who wants a fucking cobbler?
You rascal!
Oh, I know, me, right? And then I said, we all just laughed and laughed. What's up for Barbara?
You are so bad!
Right!
Cut! Athena, as you can see, was not blessed with a bountiful bosom. Hell, I've held crab apples in my hand larger than these little.
Hit him.
Athena, tell us about your condition.
Well, I've been this way since I was 13. My mom just said drink milk, and eventually I fell in, but I never did, Dan.
Oh, and how does that make you feel?
Sometimes less desirable, especially at bars and clubs. My other girlfriends get hit on by guys. It's hard for a girl with itty-bitty titties to get itty-bitty attention.
And that makes you want to kill yourself or become a full-blown lesbian, right?
No. I don't want to die, and I love men. I just want big boobs is all. Big boobs, Dan!
And with America's help, we're going to get you those big boobs. Call now to help.
Okay, play track 5.
Whoa, God bless. Listen to those phones ring. Suck big-hearted, kind people you are. Give, yes. Athena, come here. Look at you, babe. Come here. Now that worked fast. Thank you, America.
Thank you, America. I love my big boobs. I love them. Look at me now, Dan.
He sat down at the bar, put his head down. And we're like, Frank, you have to go. You have to leave. You can't be here. Go home. And he stood up and he turned around, and I think he was gonna flip them off. He had his hand started to move in a gesture, but you couldn't tell, and he fell.
No.
And he clocked his face on the bar stool that he had just gotten off of.
His only true addiction seemed to be alcohol.
Begged me to drink with him at the house, and I'd be like, why, Frank? Why do I have to sit here and, be drinking with you and stuff? And
Yeah, once he started, he didn't stop until the booze was gone or he passed out.
And he drinks, and he drinks, and he drinks. And he's not like a quiet drunk. He gets boisterous, and then he gets angry, and then he gets...
He came home and was just thrashing in the middle of the living room. Like, there was a coffee table, he knocked it over.
He just couldn't be pulled out of where he was, that zone of self-destruction.
One time it was just me and Tony, and we couldn't carry him, so we dragged him.
It's like puffing on everything. His shirt's all pulling up. This poor guy. It is. It's gonna get cold, and it's because he ain't walking. I'll drag you all the way home. But no, dude. I don't care. You son of a bitch! You ready to get up and walk, Frank? Ready to get up and walk? You ready to get up and walk? Pavement back? His shirt's all the way up to his shoulders, man. I can see this shit. My finger hurts. You ready to get up and walk, man?
Like, when we would be standing outside the Zephyr, he would start strangling himself with the phone cord. Yeah.
The payphone.
Yeah.
Threw a chair at me in the back parking lot, and then we ended up getting in a fight and threw him on the ground, was holding him down. I'm chill the hell out, Frank. He just kept wanting to fight. I'm I don't want to straight up fight him and beat him up.
He just stood there and went, just right into it.
Well, no, he threw up all over himself and all over the actual jukebox and came back up to the bar with all of us. He was like, don't say anything, but it just threw up all over it. And we're like, Frank, no, like, go clean it up. And I think we didn't, and I think we just left.
We just left, and he took his shirt off and was trying to sell it to people.
His pants are falling down, and he's stumbling around, and this is like the second time I've hung out with this dude, and he's standing in the middle of the street, and I'm like, Frank, pull up your pants, okay? His junk is hanging out, and he's like, I can't do it. So I am going over there, and I have to pull up his pants.
And Frank, happy fucking birthday, and you're, I believe, 22 now, so you're still older than I, and I'll still continue to go to the bar with you until I actually am of drinking age. And I'm sure you're shit-faced watching this.
Try not to puke. Or do.
Steve talked about Texas a lot, so I felt like this is his way of just running from one problem, thinking a new scenario would help. Or
what is your favorite state in the country of America?
Ohio.
Lies!
I like Ohio, I do.
You lie!
No. Texas?
He wanted to go down there and live and get a job and everything.
The way he described it, LA is for movies, New York is for TV, and Austin is for music when it comes to film.
His plan was to just drive down there, and that's like an 18-hour drive.
I just saw a sign that says rock slides, but I suggest they should turn the sign upside down so it says slides rock. Welcome to Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas. All right, I saw a sign like 5 minutes ago that said state line only a quarter or a mile and a half away. I haven't seen one welcoming sign for this. What the fuck is going on? Is your state fucking retarded?
He had no place to stay, like nothing set up down there. So as a graduation / going away present, I was like, Frank, we have to get you a hotel room because you're just going to be driving for 18 hours and then what, sleep on the street in your car, have no idea where you're going. So I got him a hotel room for like 3 or 4 nights or something.
Now I see why they call it AC. Actually, I still don't get it. But I walked around the block and I got to see prostitutes right around the corner with headphones and what's up? And then went to the store and I was like, can I get some cerveza for the white boy? And they're like, yeah. They overcharged me because they saw my ID was from Ohio. Even though everything's supposed to be bigger in Texas, the cans of Decante were 8 ounces and a 6-pack of them. He charged me like $10. So they ripped me off and they had a good laugh. But I let them have their fun. Oh yeah, another thing, when I was walking to look for where the hell a beer store was, a Mexican guy is walking towards me wheeling a crate of ice cream, like he's the ice cream man and had bells on it. And I could tell he couldn't speak English, so I go, hey, cerveza? He's like, no English. I'm like, yeah, you dumb motherfucker, that's why I said cerveza. Cerveza. Oh, no speak English. That's the guy that said he didn't know how to say cerveza. He didn't know what cerveza was. So everything's going really bad. It is so hot here that they had to put a mirror in the bathroom to show how red your arms get from walking without suntan lotion. Fucking dumbass Ohioans. No! I'm alone here.
Because I graduated, I got my master's in January 2009. And after I had just finished and I was exhausted, I just wanted to go turn off my brain for a little while. So I figured what better way than to go visit Frank. He had gotten this horrific looking couch, like brown with like an orange sunset on it and like deer, and he didn't have a bed. He just mainly slept on the couch. But You know, anybody who knows Frank knows that he didn't really sleep more than like 3 or 4 hours at a time. Inside of his apartment was nice. The outside was not so nice. Like there would be bums and people squatting in the hallways and yeah, like sleeping outside of his door, and because there was like these weird giant heads of like animals, and they were like just sitting there on the ground, no longer like on the bodies or whatever they came with, you know, behind this rusted chain link fence. And this was his view outside. The backyard was this, it was like a post-apocalyptic like kiddie playland. It was really bizarre. There had been some sort of altercation and there was like a trail of blood in the hallway. So we're on our way out for a night on the town, tiptoeing around blood puddles.
Once this country runs out of cigarettes, we're gonna run Obama out of the office, and us Texans will finally get our freedom. Win Dixie, 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 Dixie. Yankee Doodle Dandy went to town, riding on a phony Obama. Yankee Doodle, Yankee do none. Obama, more like Osama. Osama bin Laden. Yosemite Sam went down to Amsterdam to catch a pail of water. And America crumbled down like the kingdom if we elect a black president, because the foundations of our founding fathers were freedom. Light bulbs were invented because Benjamin Franklin came to this country, and they want to take away our cigarettes. And if they take away our cigarettes, what the fuck do we have? No lighters. Lighters spark fires. Fires caused by terrorists. What will this young America come to if they look up to a president that is taller than them? It's not a world I want to live in, this 21st country. I don't know, all this talk about Mexicans jumping the border to come into our country. I'm about to fucking jump over the fence and go over there. Because I don't want to live in a country where a black man can tell my children to read books about history. I think we should fucking put our children in front of TV. And this guy should be our president right here.
Well, I met Steve at the Lime Spider in July, it was July, I think, of 2005. And I had actually been there to meet somebody else, and they stood me up. And I was really broke at the time. I only had like $10 to my name. So I was just sitting there waiting for somebody else to buy me a drink before I got up and left. And that's when Steven rolled in and asked me if he could buy me a shot. And I said, okay.
No, he was a high school friend, and the thing was, he was a year older than us, I believe. Maybe 2 years older than us. Steve definitely played a major role in Frank's life, and it was a lot more than I thought it was. I mean, they were almost exactly the same in the sense that they liked the same exact music, the same kind of style, and just everything they shared and talked about was exactly the same.
He had this huge pack of CDs that him and Steve were sharing. Yeah. Sort of sharing. I think that book of CDs was probably like 1/3 Frank's, or maybe a little less, but they like built this collection together.
You could tell that they loved each other and they experienced a different relationship than most people. They had just this kind of crazy sort of outlook.
We're going for lack of artisticness here. We're gonna see what we can do, and we're gonna see how dirty we can get.
What?
Can we get more?
I think I'm empty. Fine for the drunkard, the alcoholic, and the explorer in all of us. If you want to find yourself, get deep down inside your roots and figure out where you're coming from, I'd suggest puking in your face. This is your brain. This is your brain on crystal methamphetamine.
Why?
Why did I ever start smoking crack? I wish I had never picked up the alcohol can. This is what I consider beautiful. Where do you get off on this, Frank, you dirty son of a bitch?
Dude, what else am I gonna check off to?
I hope you're enjoying yourself. You've really belittled me this time. All the hydrochloric acid. It is hydrochloric acid, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's hydrochloric acid.
You got shit hanging off your face.
Are you recording this?
Yeah, I am.
If you're watching this now, fuck you if you can't take a joke.
Dude, nobody can take a joke this gross. Yeah.
Frank looked up to Steve in a lot of ways, you know. I mean, they were very, very close. Steve looked up to Frank, you know, in a lot of ways because, you know, Steve always wanted to play drums, and Frank was just naturally really good at the drums. And eventually Steven ended up giving him his drum set.
They kept selling each other their drum set. You know, they kept selling it back and forth like Beavis and Butthead with the candy bars.
I was sitting on the floor, and they were sitting on my futon. And Frank said something to the effect that if anybody fucked with my friend Steve, or, you know, I'd kick their ass. And of course, my drunk ass, I've got a beer bottle in my hand. I said, if anybody fucked with Steve, I'd fucking kill him. And I smashed the beer bottle, into the tempered glass coffee table, and it shatters into like 1,000 pieces. And then me and Frank are arguing back and forth, and Steve gets up and then walks with his bare feet across the broken shards of coffee table.
Before heroin and during heroin, whatever, you know, they hung out a lot.
Were you angry at Steve? Or, you know, in a way, I never really knew Steve would do that kind of stuff. I never really knew. I mean, I kind of somewhat heard from people that he did, but I never really knew that it was like that, because I looked at Steve as a big brother in a way too, because I didn't grow up as much as Frank did around him, but I definitely respected him enough to where I felt like he just wouldn't do that kind of stuff, you know?
He had said something at one point, I don't remember if it was a night of drinking or what, but that he wouldn't do drugs because Steve, I guess, told him, you know, man, don't ever get into this, because Steve was hooked too.
It was a lot worse for Steven than he let on to anybody, you know? But apparently they had been partying one night, and I guess Frank had kind of fallen off. He woke up and he was in the shower, and Steven was sitting on the toilet crying because he thought he had killed his friend.
Like, it's still a bit unclear as to whether he died just from a straight overdose or from hitting his head and knocking himself out. He was in there, I think, for a day or two before anyone found him.
I mean, I was surprised when Steven died, but I wasn't shocked, you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it. It was kind of like I knew it was coming down the pipe, you know?
For a while after Steve's death, he was just like, I'm done with the heroin, and then he just wasn't, you know, it started back up again, and he would talk about Steve all the time when he was drinking, you know, because he missed him real bad.
And I would ask him, you know, why are you still drinking this, and he's like, oh, whatever, something along the line. It makes me feel close to Steve. It makes me feel close to Steve.
I think that when Frank lost Steve, Frank went downhill really fast.
He said that he just really wanted to feel as close as he could the way Steve felt before he passed away. So he would, kind of play dice, with his gamble his life away to get as close as he could to feel that way.
I mean, if you read that letter, he said, "You're a coward," and you left. And Frank felt alone. No, I totally invited him because Colorado changed my fucking life. I knew what it did for me, and I thought I could save him. I invited him out here to save his life. So, I tried to warn my roommates. I was like, guys, Frank's a little rough around the edges, you just gotta be patient with him. I know that he tried not to drink for me and for himself, but he didn't do it mostly for himself, he did it for me. The first time I ever trimmed marijuana was with Frank. And we got so high. There was this bowl that was shaped like an apple, and we're just passing it around and just getting crazy and trimming pot. And he loved it. He was really good at it.
And then he got that job, working at the marijuana plant, and he was okay for a little bit, and then
Marijuana.
I know.
He said he wasn't really smoking much.
I know,
Yeah.
but he just went right back into it.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's the awful thing is that, once you're hooked, you're hooked. And
Yeah. Oh, you know the story? Where he got the balloon with sand in it? Yeah.
Start over.
So he was getting heroin from Boulder, in Denver. He lived in Boulder. From this really, he was with this sketchy dude who was obviously also retarded. But they go to get heroin, and basically goes to get it off some vagrant.
A black homeless guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a little balloon, and so he buys it. I have no idea how much he paid or what he even bought, but he gets it, and Frank handles it, and it's a bag of sand.
Oh my god.
He bought a bag of sand.
Tell you he had a death wish?
He didn't tell me because, again, he tried to hide it from me, but he made sure to tell my roommates. I was like, I have to do something. I have to do something because this isn't enough. Me loving him isn't enough. I have to get these, addictions out of him. I have to get him to rehab. I think I'm the only one who's done that. So I showed up and I was like, Frank, let's go. You're gonna get help. And he's like, no. I'm like, no, we're fucking good, taking you to the hospital. And so that's how he knew I meant business. And so then we got him into the car and he's like, Michelle, you're just wasting your time. And I'm like, no, fucking Frank, we're gonna get you help. We're gonna get you help. He's like, you're a bitch. He's like, you're just wasting your time. I don't know why you're doing this. Give up on me. That's what he was telling me. He was telling me to give up on him. And I was like, no, I'm not giving up on you. And so what they did was they gave him a breathalyzer. They're like, okay, son, why are you here? And I was like, well, Frank needs to go into detox. And they're like, yeah, whatever, okay. Blow into this. They were just waiting for him to sober up, essentially. And it took hours, literally hours, for him to sober up. And then he sobered up. A guy came into the room, and he was a psychologist, the hospital psychologist. And he gave Frank an evaluation, and the guy was like, well, son, are you suicidal now? And Frank's like, no, I'm not suicidal. He had sobered up, and he was humiliated. And so the guy was like, well, there's nothing we can do for you. Make sure you stop drinking, because, it's bad for you, your liver's gonna fail, and your gout's bad, it's been acting up. Just take care of yourself, son, and stop drinking so much. Like, why would I go through such great lengths to take Frank to the hospital if I didn't care? If it wasn't a problem? Like, friends don't just genuinely take, their friends to the hospital. They didn't care. They just didn't care.
Didn't he move into another place?
Well, see, I talked to him when he was out in Colorado, and I couldn't keep track of his story. It seemed like he was just all over the place.
He had ran out of places to live, must have just driven everybody crazy.
He told me he was going back home, and I was just so sad because it didn't work. Coming out to Boulder wasn't what saved him.
Frankie, it's your last day in Boulder. Makes me sad. What are you gonna do with yourself? Extreme close up! Whoa! Whoa! No?
Probably gonna play with my wiener a little bit, then play with it more.
Frankie, this is our goodbye.
I need to shave.
Yeah, you do.
It's fat.
So you're going back to Ohio?
Wait, I want to try to pick your nose.
It seemed like every time he came back here, he started getting into trouble again. All the old friends who were, fuck ups and I don't know who got who into what or whatever, but Frank and Steve and, Matt and Angie and all those people were all wrapped up in that bullshit.
The first couple months were rough just because it felt like a stranger was in my house. I mean, I know it was my brother, but it's just very, distant, and I'd let him have a couple beers with me and we could both relax and talk about things and hang out. But then he ended up being jobless again for a while there. It just seemed like one thing after another with him. And he's like, it's not that I'm not trying. And he had made a statement about, you can't get a Ferrari going 90 miles per hour to stop, just like this. And I'm like, well, he kept promising, I'm gonna pay rent, I'm gonna do this. And he started cooking dinner and having stuff when I came home. And it was nice. It was just, he was trying. And I had come home, and I think from work or something, and it was later, like 7:30. I had showered, and I'm like, God, I thought I'd been hearing like this weird, I can't even explain the noise. It was just like a horrific, awful noise. And I kept looking outside thinking, God, is someone dragging like a garbage can across the street or moving? I don't know. I'm looking outside thinking, my boyfriend had texted me, hey, by the way, I'm not gonna, I don't want you to come down here, I'll just come up there. So I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, well, I guess it takes 45 minutes to get here, so I'll go do some laundry. Lights are on because he always left shit on all over the place. But I saw his feet, and then I heard that noise, and I'm like, I realized that was coming from my brother. But the way he was laying was his head was like turned up into like the corner of the wall. And I remember bending down and turning because I couldn't see his face since it was turning his face, and it was just like, it was purple and gray, and he was just drenched in sweat. I do remember I started pacing right in here, and I saw a couple of like the cops and paramedics walking, and I saw him walking with them. And they came and, just relax, we're taking him to the hospital, just to keep him, make sure everything is okay, but, it was heroin. And I went to bed around 4:30 that morning, and I got a call around 5:30 from my mom. She said, I'm coming home, I'm bringing Frankie, and I said, don't you dare, and she said, I know. She said, I just want to grab some of his things because he's still going to go to work at 8:30 in the morning. And I'm like, I came down, and I just remember kept my arms folded like this, and he came in, I'm staring at him just still thinking, I don't know how 8 hours ago all this just happened, and you're walking in the house, and he's like, hey. And so I saw him, and we hugged, and the typical whatever, and I didn't want to talk in depth about anything, but I said, are you okay now? And he said, yeah, I am. I said, okay, because that was it. And I'm like, if it's gonna, you know, if that wasn't an eye-opener to you, then I don't know what's going to be.
I figured with something like that, you know, that you would stop. A lot of people don't, but, you know, and he did, when I talked to him, he was really ashamed about the whole thing. He also said that he had scared himself. He also said that after when Stephen had died, he was like, I'm never gonna do that again, but, you know, that didn't last.
Do you know where he was? Like what city?
When he died?
Yeah.
He was living in some crack house in Akron. You know Tex?
Know who he is.
Tex told me, don't go there. It's dangerous.
Wow.
It seemed like he had his shit together to an extent prior to getting that job at Goodyear and then moving into the house in Akron.
And, you know, I kept telling him, I was like, you gotta get out of here, Frank, but, you know, it was convenient at the time where he was at, and, you know, he could get to work in the 9 to 5.
I think I went up there and bought some of his food stamps on a couple of occasions, and he was telling me that the house next door, somebody had came in and robbed the place and shot it up with a gun over an Xbox and some other crazy stuff like. And he had asked me to hang out there a couple times, but I wasn't particularly interested.
You know, we'd sit on the front porch and drink beers, and people from all up and down the street would just, you know, come up, and it was just not a really good area.
I think he had previously overdosed at least once, perhaps twice while he was living there. Frank ever had more than $40 or $50 in his pocket. It was nothing good was ever going to come from it.
You met his roommates?
Mm. Thumbs down.
He was out of town, and, you know, the day before he had sent me a text message, and he was just saying, you know, like, I'd really like to see you. I need to, like, get out and associate with people. He's like, I choked my roommate the other night because I was so angry at him, and he was like, I just need to, like, hang out with people that, you know, I care about. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, tomorrow we'll, you know, hang out for sure. And that was the last time I talked to him.
So you didn't know Frank?
No, personally I didn't.
They've got the room locked downstairs?
Right. Nobody wants to rent it.
Why won't anyone rent it?
Because it's too fucking small for anybody. What is it, 5 by 10 if it's that? A jail cell's bigger than that.
There's a closet?
No.
No?
Nothing. I've been told that Frank, he OD'd one time. The paramedics come out and saved his life, right? Heard they come out again, saved his life. Last time, wasn't nobody gonna call the fucking paramedics.
Yeah? They're just like, well, fuck that.
Right.
Yeah. People living with him kind of like him, or they didn't like him?
They didn't like what he stands for.
No. Did you hear anything good about Frank? Like how he'd get tacos for the house?
Nah, all I heard about Frank was all he wanted to do was stay fucked up all his life.
That's it, huh?
All right.
Actually, I got the call on Sunday around 1 o'clock from the coroner saying, because I was the one that's listed for emergency contact, saying that he had passed away from an overdose. And she just needed some information from me and to find out if she should call my mom or what.
I couldn't stay in Akron after Frank was gone. Like I just thought about him all the time, and there's just nothing left there.
It was just an awful way to go, but I have a feeling that if he was going to die in any way, shape, or time, that was probably it.
Feeling all right?
Oh yeah.
Want to go downtown, have a beer?
Sure.
All right, give the
do it.
camera one of these.
Fuck you, Frank.
Yeah, there you go.
Here's to your fuck, Frank.
Man butt on there.
Oh, no. Is there a 6-foot rule?
Yes,
in Ohio?
back it up.
No, 6 toes. It sounds awkward.
We'll stay 6 toes away.
I hear mariachi static on my radio, and the tubes they glow in the dark. And I'm there with you in Ensenada, and I'm here in Echo Park. Carmelita, hold me tighter. I think I'm sinking down, and I'm all strung out on heroin on the outskirts of town. Well, I pawned my Smith & Wesson, and I went to meet my man. He hangs out down on Eldorado Street at the county chicken stand. Carmelita, hold me tighter. I think I'm sinking down, and I'm all strung out on heroin on the outskirts of town.
It's like I have a blowtorch of death right here. I could kill all of you with this.
Well, I'm sitting here playing Russian roulette with my pearl-handled gun. The county won't give me any more methadone, and they cut off your welfare check. Carmelita, hold me tighter. I think I'm sinking down, and I'm all strung out on heroin on the outskirts of town. Carmelita, hold me tighter. I think I'm sinking down, and I'm all strung out on heroin on the outskirts of town.
This message brought to you by the Beast.
When you're enjoying a hard day of being saved by Prince Valiant, make sure you're enjoying it responsibly.